I should probably actually sign into
As far as I
Roll20
know.
then.
Insert ad for audible.com here.
Okay, I think Ox, are you just finishing eating?
No, I'm here.
Okay, awesome. Fucking sweet. All right. So, welcome back, everybody. It is, it's good to hear from you all again.
Yay, I'm glad you didn't die in Scotland.
I too am very glad. It was something. How's everybody been over the last couple of weeks?
Can't complain.
Been all right.
Pretty good.
Still dry.
Not great physically.
Yeah, how's flooding going, Rich?
Not near me, so
That's the best kind of flooding.
yeah. Doesn't look like it. It was pretty close, though. I will say that. There's some interesting drone footage, and I also wish I had my own drone so I could actually go look around near me.
Hurricanes are crazy. Did you finally get your stuff back, David?
Yeah, I got mine back like 5 days in. My parents are still trying to get Air Canada to send theirs back.
That's
Looks
sad.
like the baggage handlers in Dublin are on strike, so they're just not sending us our shit, which is cool.
I just appreciate how they managed to lose all the sets to different places.
Yeah, fuck. It was some creative shit. We found at one point the regional airline for Scotland is like a thing called Aer Lingus, and they sent us a bag that was the same color as my dad's, and had his tags on it. Like the luggage tags had clearly been ripped off and put onto this new bag, but it was not his bag.
Jeez.
That's
That was
advanced
cool.
stupid right there. Someone put effort into that stupid.
Or somebody just wanted to steal our shit.
Are you sure your dad wasn't smuggling a bunch of drugs? Somebody would be like, yoink.
I'm fairly certain. I can ask him, but I think the answer will be no.
Like, what can you take over to Europe that can't be found better in Amsterdam?
Basically, yeah.
Well, what comes out of South America? Cocaine, right?
That's South America, not Canada.
Right, but I figured Canada would have an easier time getting shit from South America than Amsterdam would.
I don't know, man. You got that sweet wall on your south border.
No, Mexico hasn't paid yet, so it's not finished.
Damn.
Wait, I thought the plan was to finish the wall and then make Mexico pay for it through remittances.
Yeah.
I think you're giving a little too much credit to the planning procedure on that side.
That's fair.
What planning procedure?
I'm going to
Someone
make
has an idea, and that's the plan.
Yes, that.
It's a solid enough procedure if the idea isn't total shit.
Pretty big, yes.
Yeah.
Let's not ask for the impossible here.
Alright, enough.
Like, speaking of ridiculous ideas, working with fire giants.
Yeah, so
I'm trying to remember exactly where we left off, actually.
who wants to summarize where we left off last session, guys?
As I recall, we opted against setting everything on fire because it wouldn't do any good.
You did. You did opt against releasing the fire primordial. Good job, guys.
I feel like I actually had to put a decent amount of work into that outcome, so I actually do feel pretty good about that. I
I
don't know.
remember
It's
him
been a
offering
while.
us some kind of deal.
He definitely offered us a deal, and to start with, all we have to do is carry a bag of big brass ears everywhere we go and drop one off once in a while.
That's actually pretty close.
In which particular is it incorrect?
Well, it just doesn't have all of the particulars. But yeah, that's actually not a bad summary of your deal with him. So yeah, last time you guys talked to the Duke for a little bit, you discover that he in fact wants to talk to people. And he's engaged you all to go and bring his message to the Lord's Alliance that he wants to talk. And he's basically said to you, I have this bag of sending stones that I have the other pair of for all of them. I want you to go and pitch my idea of negotiation to all the members of the Lord's Alliance you can find, and give them ascending stones so they can talk to me directly. And he also gave you guys one so you could talk to him.
Which we marked specifically so that when we put it in the bag with the others, we would not lose that one.
Yep.
Yes.
So I imagine he wouldn't be terribly happy for us to be coming out of a different one every time we talk to him.
And then Inks left a lipstick mark inside of his giant death machine.
Yes, you did. I believe, if I recall correctly, his deadline was along the lines of 2 months to sit down and talk to people, or to have them say "fuck you." And for the meantime, he is going to retire and head back to Ironslag.
So yeah, all things considered, I think we actually did fairly well out of that.
Yeah, you did.
So the question is,
Some
do
not
we want
awful
to go
results.
back and start with the king that we just talked to and go from there, or just keep going forward and hope they understand that they haven't been hit with anything, so everything's good?
I think we should probably drop off on Erie here. I think it's the least we can do. And it's not like we're very far from Citadel Adbar.
No, you're maybe a day outside of it. You're still. Last we ended off, you guys were still in the Fire Giant camp.
The objection to doing that is it is a couple of days in the wrong direction, which is another, half a week.
Yeah. You guys might have made it back, actually, because I remember something at the end of last session, and my notes back this up, about you guys trying to teach trees to be monks.
Oh yeah, Treekers.
I believe that was an intention
Yeah, so
Kung Fu Treekers.
of some of us.
Yes.
Not all of us were on board that plan, but
so there was a thing that I guess you guys did, that you're trying to teach your trees to be monks.
Well, I'm teaching them to be druids.
Right. Ox is
I'm
trying.
not.
Ox was doing better at persuading them to be monks.
Yeah, I'm not preventing him from doing this because I think that they do need to choose their own paths in life.
Right. He also gave them some great nature facts.
Yes. I feel like that's the more important part of their learning.
You're literally teaching nature wrong things about itself. I love it.
And I'm going after him, trying to correct it, and probably failing it as poorly as I did with leading them to be druids over monks. But either way, they would be able defenders of the forest, and so I am pleased.
You rationalize it any way you want.
Monk barbarians would be even better. Can you picture them with that stacked speed increase?
It's a nasty combo.
Yeah,
It's
then
just
they might
mad as hell.
they might actually be able to keep up with everything else.
Yeah, and then they'd be trees on top of that, so pretty good.
Yeah.
Until somebody with fire comes along.
Yeah.
Oh god, don't be the avatar tree. Or I guess do that, then you can quickly put yourself out with water.
That basically makes you an ent, I think. Alright. So, what do, guys? What do?
While I understand the impulse to go back, I am going to argue against it. I'd rather. Is there any way to send a messenger to the Citadel ad bar?
We can send the trees.
Oh, with one of the sending stones and a note.
If you do that, you're probably never gonna see the trees again. Because they're so fucking slow.
Animal messenger with the sending stone and the note?
I mean, we knew that we were going to part ways with them eventually, and my intention was to tell them to head for Shadowtop Cathedral, so.
And not for nothing, we should let Shadowtop Cathedral know what's going on anyway.
Is that so they can be with their friend, the ninja tree?
Ah, yes.
I mean, there's all
See,
kinds
there's already
of
a monk
active
tree.
nature stuff going on there.
So yeah, back to Adbar or not back to Adbar?
Animal Messenger is not going to be able to carry one of these years.
Can we just send a note if we're doing an animal messenger?
Yeah, we could just send a note and then have one of the giants deliver it.
I think it only lasts for like a day, though.
No, so I mean, you would send a note on Animal Messenger saying, "Hey, here's the situation. A giant's gonna come by, tomorrow with the actual sending stone."
Don't kill
Right.
him.
How far away from Citadel Adbar are we?
Call it half a day.
Okay, then I can in theory do that, presuming that there are going to be Are the gates of Citadel Adbar guarded from the outside?
Yes.
Because I can't probably give an animal messenger good enough directions to go into the city and find the king. But I can have it tell a guard.
Well, that's all you really need. I mean, there's probably a way for us to sign the note so that the king knows it's from us. I mean, yeah, he's still gonna accept the sending stone cautiously from the giant, but
it will also be one giant.
it's one giant walking up, putting a sending stone on the ground, and walking away, and they're gonna say, "Okay, well,
And it's an
probably not a
opportunity.
bomb, but let's check it first."
And it's an opportunity for every side to demonstrate and receive trust.
Mm-hmm.
I like this plan. This plan is going places.
Such a Citadel Edbar, do it.
Do you guys have a giant that's willing to carry it back there for you? Because they're also kind of going the opposite direction.
I mean,
Good point.
Duke is
Hang
the
on.
one that wants everybody to have a sending stone, so I'm sure he can send one of his people to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say he is their ruler, so I'm pretty sure he can say, "Yo, do this."
Duke will probably send a goblin or something.
Well, whatever. Point is, he can send
He
somebody.
picks whoever he wants.
Yeah, the Duke will give you guys a hobgoblin to be your messenger.
The Hobgoblin's job is just to drop off the sending stone and say, "This is the sending stone," and then leave.
Yep.
Hobgoblins are not dumb, so he'll be smart enough to figure out how to do that without getting himself killed.
You
Are
correct.
hobgoblins that smart?
Hobgoblins are quite smart, actually.
They're human smart, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
Like, here, he'll give you a hobgoblin captain, which has 12 int.
So, still much smarter than almost everybody in the party.
Yes. If you guys can figure out how to do this without getting killed, he can.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, if he'll offer us a hobgoblin to do the job, we can take a hobgoblin to do the job and send an animal messenger in advance.
He'll give you a hobgoblin captain with a couple of underlings. All right. What does your animal messenger say exactly?
Can we actually send it with a note?
Let me check animal messenger.
It might need to be a really tiny note.
I mean, if we have a note, we can presumably like tie it around its leg or something. If it will let me do that.
Yeah, it should.
Okay, then I can simply have it. Basically, I can tell it to look for a dwarf in whatever the guards would be wearing, because I've seen them several times as I've gone in and out through the gates of Citadel Edbar.
You have.
So I would describe dwarves dressed like that is its target, and tell it to say, "Your king wants to read the note tied around my leg immediately, and you will regret not bringing it to him at once."
Okay.
Also, on behalf of the
What does-
adventurers that that they just sent out.
You only have 25 words. But
Okay.
what does the note say then?
Yeah, we can spend a little time composing the message that the messenger and will carry and the note.
I mean, it has to persuade the king to deal with frost giants.
Fire giants. But
Fire giants. Shit.
So I will let the most persuasive members of the party work on the note, and I will think about what exactly the messenger should say.
The messenger should probably at least mention us by name so that it's definitely coming from us.
the note itself should probably just spell out that, we convinced the Duke to not attack the Citadel, and the promise that you'll hear that we will do what we can to get the members of the Lord's Alliance to hear him out. And
Taking
the way,
steps towards a lasting peace.
yeah, like he wants peace, under terms, but we got him to call off his attack, so that's not going to happen. So there's going to be a negotiation. Obviously, there's flowery ways of putting this. But mostly we just want to get across that the Duke wants to talk, and he's going to do this by sending you a sending stone that he has the other one. Which will be a rhyme when Hobgoblin drops it off.
Hobgoblin will drop it off right outside the gates, will not touch the gates or anything like that, and leave.
Okay. Those sound like excellent. Those sound good. I'm sorry. Somebody just sent me a picture of a shark on a freeway in Houston.
It's a freak.
Yeah, you see that one every time.
Yeah, always.
Every time we have flooding.
Granted, the water is more than deep enough to account for the shark. The shark is fake.
Damn.
Also,
Alright,
if the
Like, I really wanted Jaws to be eating people in Houston. Damn it.
as a little side note, Inks will add a little heart and a couple lines of that song that she did really well at that the king really liked, just to have a note that they know it's from them.
Alright.
Something that only they would know.
Right. Okay.
Throw in some lines complimenting the king's wisdom of knowing the best route to take with this, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Okay. So you tie this to the leg of your animal messenger and send him off.
Indeed.
All right. You send an animal messenger fluttering off towards the towards Citadel Adbar. The hobgoblins are going to sit here and wait for a little bit, just so they can be sure that the messenger actually gets there first. But
Yeah, I can respect that.
That's a good idea.
They'll sit. They'll leave in probably about 12 hours. So you guys are still here in the middle of the night. But they'll probably leave for Adbar about noon.
Seems reasonable.
Alright, so what do we want to do about the rest of the night?
Does anyone really need sleep, or are we all good to keep trudging along?
And
I
by
mean, we should
trudge-
probably at least get a little bit away, because Inks has been kind of away on the carpet this whole time because they didn't even see her there.
Yeah, I'm just trying. Do we want to just push on through the night, or do we want to go
Well,
half
here's
hour,
my
hour
thought.
away, so we're far enough away, then rest, then go?
How many people can the carpet accommodate at once?
Keep in mind, there's a frost giant.
Pretty
too.
sure the answer was all of us except for, obviously, Harshnag.
Yes, I'm fairly certain it's all of the medium-sized members of your party.
Didn't we leave Harshnag back at Citadel Adbar outside?
Ah, yes, you did do that.
Yeah, we should probably go get him. Or at least
Well,
send
messenger's a
another,
ritual spell, right?
yeah, another animal messenger down to him.
And just tell him to head out and we'll meet him on the road.
All right.
The fight's not happening. We'll meet you on the road. With
Yeah, and,
explanations.
All right. Cool.
I think probably the best thing that we can do with the carpet is any of us who need sleep, sleep on the carpet, and anyone who doesn't, make sure we don't fall off the carpet.
Let you fall off the carpet because reasons. Got it.
Well, I'm staying
What did I
up all
ever do
night.
to you?
Thank you.
Nah, I'll stop you.
I mean, tieflings don't need. Tieflings can do without sleep.
I'm just saying I don't
Only if
want
they
to
have enough
throw up.
coffee.
Okay, but that applies to pretty much everyone for whom drinking coffee is a possibility.
Wait, who can't drink coffee?
Ox. I mean, I could. I just don't think it would have any effect.
Okay.
You can
different
get
things.
drunk off your ass and carouse, but you can't drink coffee?
I don't get drunk. I just do that for fun.
Why do you think we get drunk?
All right. So, here's a question for you guys. Where are you heading? Post sleep, post waking up.
We should be meeting with Harshnag to head towards the Oracle? By the Oracle?
Are we still going to Everland, or are we just gonna cut through the woods?
Well, this is kind of my question to you guys. There was a lot of talk about possible routes several weeks ago.
I'm just zooming out enough so I can actually see the whole relevant part of the map. So we're right around Iron Slag. All right, so we're in the middle.
No, you're right around Citadel Adbar. The Giants had come to Adbar to try and lay siege to get back stuff. You know, that flask.
So it's about 500 miles as the crow flies, or 300 miles as the crow flies to Everland, and then another
120 from Mirabar to the Eye.
Yeah. However,
We cut off 80 miles and we can't keep Harshnag with us that way.
yeah,
But it's
we
also
can
mostly
finagle
over
keeping-
roads.
Not really. I don't think we gain too much road use. But the other thing, though, is if we do want to drop off some of these sending stones,
That'd be ways to do
we do
it.
have to end up near at least one of the cities with a teleporter. So while I don't think it'll actually save us a lot of time, I think we do want to go to Everland anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is at least mostly road to Everland, which is most of the journey. And then Mirabar to the Eye should at least have some like mountain pathways, if not actual roads.
Yeah, there's not super roads in that area.
But I mean, it's going to be better than cutting from the Moonwood to the Eye.
Yeah. I feel obliged to remind you guys. You talked to Lord Naboon a while ago about the logistics of teleporting Harshnag.
Yeah, from Everland.
Yes, and
They're expecting it.
Yeah, he told you that your best bud Valharo, the Archmage there, had something in mind.
Okay, well then, never mind my objection to that. It cuts off about 80 miles, and it's 80 miles of the worst terrain, so yeah, let's do that. Also, given that we're on the road and we're going to have a couple days to talk it out, we need to talk about what we're doing with this flask.
I'm sorry, which flask?
The Iron
That
Flask.
flask that you have that has a primordial in it.
All right, we still have that.
You do.
Shit.
As an added reminder, the Duke is very keen on getting that flask back. And Lord Naboon is very keen on him never getting access to it again.
As well as having it in his possession for at least a short time in the near future.
Yeah. His thing is that he wants you guys to drop it off with him so that he can arrange getting it back to Gauntlet.
And Ox is very keen on setting the primordial free. Preferably in its homeland, not here, but slavery's bad.
Yeah, but as I recall, the point was raised last time that if we set it free, regardless of where, it came here on its own originally.
So? That doesn't mean it's okay to enslave it!
It doesn't mean it's okay to unleash it and kill a bunch of innocent people who didn't enslave it.
Yeah, that's why I said we don't have to release it here. We can go to its home first.
and came here from its home before. Being at its home
Like
is not
10,000 years ago.
Right, and it's just as powerful now as it was back then.
Right, but look, if I get drunk and I'm trying to come home from the pub and accidentally wander in somebody else's home, I don't want to go to prison for 10,000 years.
Does seem a bit harsh.
Of course, it
It
also
does sound a bit
burned
harsh, but
down
how
your
many
house
millions of
and
people?
all of your neighbors' houses.
How many cities did you kill on the way in?
How many anthills have you stepped on?
Personally, probably not that many.
I try to avoid anthills whenever possible.
Well, yes, I'm sure you do, but these others I'm not so sure about.
They're a bit bitey. I try not to.
And the whole try not to part falls into this too. This creature deliberately tried to burn down the material plane.
I mean, do you actually know that? Were
Sources,
you
I believe.
there? I didn't realize you were 10,000 years old.
I don't need to be. People I trust, however.
Oh, you know people who are 10,000 years old.
No, but I know people with enough knowledge of history to figure this out. Reasonably enough.
So here is a
You can't even get nature facts right, darling. I don't think you can get history facts right.
But I mean, the thing is, you not only trust people who've studied history, but the people who wrote the history and the people who carried that history along.
So here
There's
is
a long
question.
chain of people there, any one of whom could have lied.
Can we short
It's a much shorter train than you probably think. Remember, I'm an elf who works with dragons.
Is there some form of magic that would allow us to communicate with it without opening the flask?
That's a good
Excellent.
question.
No. I believe
I'm
this
sure-
was asked before.
I'm sure glad I asked that out loud of the party and not just in my head where only I could consider the question. Wow, am I glad of that.
Don't know if you need me on that one, but
Wow, the rest of the party sure is glad too.
I can't do much better.
I mean, it's not a natural one. I got a nature fact.
So basically, we're saying it's a POW.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
let's
think it's kind
justify
of.
slavery.
No, I'm saying that I think it served its time. Time to send it home.
Good. I agree.
Okay, so how do the primordials feel about the rest of the universe now?
Also, where are the other primordials?
Primordials. Rest of the primordials are kind of scattered and or dead. There's not many of them left around. They did lose the war.
I love that one of my bonus languages is primordial.
Yeah, I
actually
mean, you
could
can
talk to
try
it.
and talk to it.
Yeah,
You have
but with my Arcana
Yes.
check, I think that the way to talk to it is to open the flask and put it up to my ear.
I mean, that
We'll
could
definitely
work.
hear it if that happens.
Yeah, you'll do a bit more than hear it if that happens. Primordial current feelings on the world, not great. Most of them are not on the material plane, though. And traveling between planes is different.
I mean, we just need to drop a bag of holding, and bam, insta portal, right?
To the astral plane, not to the plane of fire.
I mean, close enough, right?
Doesn't the
No,
astral
not
plane
even
have
close.
color pools?
The important
Sometimes,
thing
but
is
keep
it's
in
not.
mind that everything in the astral plane is an infinite distance from everything else.
Yeah, it
Well,
might take us a while to send it home that way, is what you're saying.
Is the primordial
Time
itself
isn't-
able to travel back to its own plane?
I think we actually established previously that it could, and if we ordered it to, it probably would. Just that afterwards it
That does
wouldn't
not
feel.
sound like a thing we would have established because I don't think it can do that.
Then how did it get here in the first place?
And Gurley.
Basically, the primordial got here. Looking at the timeline, it got here 30 some odd thousand years ago. The world was a very different place.
I mean, keep in mind, this is a power level roughly even with a god.
A bit below, but they did lose the war with the gods, but they still fought them.
I
I
think
thought
the
it's
better
because the
class
gods
of god.
outnumbered them, but whatever.
I mean, I would figure that any competent god or godlike could cast Gate.
The point is, we know it has means of doing that, although we have no idea what those means are. And they
And
may be
whether it
something
would
that
immediately
really
do
only
that.
a primordial would do.
Of course, maybe that's what it was trying to do before. Maybe it needs to make its location fiery enough to open a link to the plane of fire. It can get itself home, but only by ruining our world. What do?
Yes, we just tell it that, and then it immediately destroys this half of the planet and goes home.
Find somebody who can cast plane shift. I'm pretty sure Manny can do it.
We haven't even talked to Manny.
Yeah,
Is it
right.
this party?
Well, my
no,
point
man?
is just I'm sure there are people on this plane who can.
Well, we know that there are ways of getting, if we want to say get to the elemental plane of fire, there are ways of doing that. We're very much aware of that.
We are at this point discussing what our ultimate goal here should be before we start talking about ways and means. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, if we're gonna be practical about this, maybe we should just figure out how to get to the Isle of the Allfather without worrying about the primordial.
Someone along the way is going to ask us about the flask. And once we get to Everland, we don't really have an excuse for not running it in.
Then let's not go to Everland. Let's just go straight through the woods. We can send all of the sending stones back to the ad bar and have them take care of sending them out.
I mean, that might be a thing if we hadn't already made the plan and sent off the messengers, but I don't think that we can discuss setting the primordial free in the Duke's camp. Like,
I'm not talking about setting the primordial free. I'm talking about
getting
just
rid of the primordial. The point is, he wants it, and we can't just talk about doing something other than giving it to him in front of his dudes in his camp. Am I wrong?
No, but we can go back into his camp and be like, hey, we had to change of plans. We got to cut through the woods to make sure that we get to the Eye of the Allfather as quickly as possible. We can't bother dealing with your sending stones. Something's come up. We don't have to explain what.
But then the treaty we just made is basically null and void because that was part of it.
Well, again, we can go back to Adbar or send something back to Adbar and say, hey, you need to send these stones out.
Yes, I'm sure
Like,
we
my
can
point is,
trust
if
the
you're worried
dwarves.
about somebody in the cities giving us crap about the primordial. There's ways to get around it. Or you can just set the whole thing aside for the moment and just focus on the Eye of the Allfather.
If we set it aside for long enough, it's going to bite us in the ass. I know this is true.
I mean, probably, but we don't know what the fuck we're doing right now, so...
We at least have some ideas about what we're doing.
And talking this out because we've got the time.
Yes. I assume we've been on like the carpet and going, and that's when this conversation is happening because.
Yeah.
I assume we're discussing releasing the primordial in the middle of this game.
Yeah, no. The goal was to get to Everland, drop things off, sending stones and whatnot, drop off Flask, I believe, but then going to Mirbar, getting to this Eye of the Allfather. That was our next goal. That is a pretty straightforward goal, I'd like to think.
Sorry, say it again?
Doing what we said we'd do. Get to the Eye of the Allfather. In the
Okay,
fastest way possible.
Did you say something about the flask in that, though?
I don't know what you're talking about, darling.
Like, out of character. I missed that.
Yes.
Yeah, no. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, so my point is that we need to make at least decisions about the grand strategy as relates to the flask while we're on the road before we get to Everland.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying we have to free it, but I'm not okay with us just giving it back to its slavers.
So you just want to keep it enslaved, then? You're not making a very good counterpoint to this, darling.
I mean, what is it that you think that we should do, if not set it free?
I mean, I think we should set it free, but I'm willing to, like, discuss this with you. So leaving it in the flask is an acceptable, like, compromise. Giving it straight back to the dwarves, or to anybody else who's going to enslave it, is not acceptable to me.
I am not a fan of that plan either. Of giving it back to the dwarves.
Yeah, so I mean, like, giving up the flask is not something I'm willing to accept.
Unless we give it up to someone who you don't think will use it.
Unless we can give it up to someone who I can trust to get it, to free it eventually, once they figure out how to get it back to its plane. But I don't trust Naboon to do that.
Is there anyone that you know of who we could trust to do that?
In character, no. Out of character, probably not.
Fantastic.
Well, then here's a perfect compromise for you, darling. You learn how to be a wizard, get yourself a banishment spell, and go from there. And once you have the banishment spell, you can banish it yourself. But that does mean carrying it around for a while. So, I won't say anything to Lord Naboon or anyone else if they don't ask. If they do, we should just go with the plan.
Does anybody have banishment on their spell list?
Nope.
Is that a druid spell?
It might be a druid spell.
That's what I'm checking.
Because you're absolutely
Like
right that
5.
banishment would be like the perfect spell for this situation. Even if we just pick up a scroll of it,
Cleric,
because we can
sorcerer, warlock, wizard.
Because I mean, we could order the primordial to fail its save because it has to follow our instructions for like an hour after the thing. Plus, I mean, we're sending it home, so it's probably going to agree to that anyway.
If I recall correctly, when we were talking about this, the way it works, it sounds like we could just release it, say, okay, go back to the plane of fire and stay there.
But it doesn't necessarily have the ability to go back to the plane of fire by itself. But a banishment spell would send it back to its home plane.
It would.
So we just need to pick up a scroll of banishment, really, and then we can free it.
Well, it's a paladin spell.
Really? Wow. It's level 5, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, none of us are like actually going to be able to cast it yet, is the problem.
No, it's a level 4 spell. You guys can cast it, I'm pretty sure.
Well,
I only have level 3 spell slots, I think.
yeah, Paladin can't cast it yet. She doesn't
However-
have high enough spell slots left.
Yeah,
If we
it's
had a
cleric,
scroll-
paladin, sorcerer, warlock, and wizard spell.
If I remember correctly, you can cast a scroll of a spell slot higher than you can normally cast. It's just
Yeah.
you have to make a roll.
Yeah,
Right.
you have to make
Well,
a
I mean, we could have-
spellcraft ability check.
We could have Inks cast the scroll if we can get the scroll.
Theoretically,
Can
I
you
could actually cast a scroll.
scrolls? Oh yeah, Inks is a sorcerer.
Are you asking me nicely?
Well, so it has to be on your spell list to be able to use the scroll. Rules is written.
Well, here's the thing, though. I have access to the wizard spell list.
Interesting. Okay, Sil can do it then.
Or wait, is
I,
that
I would
do I
be.
have a shitload of rituals? Because I picked up the
Banishment is
casting
not a
feat that
ritual.
but it's a scroll.
She's asking if the ritual casting feat counts for scroll casting purposes.
Oh god.
DM
I don't, off the top of my head, I don't think it should. Let me try.
Anyway, point is, scroll of banishment solves our problems.
Only if we assume it's going to stay gone.
Quite an assumption.
If it doesn't have a way to get back to the plane of fire, it doesn't have a way to get to the material plane in the first place by itself.
Right,
Also,
but if
how
it
large
does,
do we know this thing to be again? How much space would it need to not destroy everything just by appearing?
I mean, look, we're going up to the Eye of the All-Father anyway. We can head up, out into, the wilderness up above it afterwards. And just release it there, away from everybody.
Seriously, how big
mean,
is this
one of
thing
us-
supposed to be?
In game terms, it is gargantuan. So pretty fucking big.
So, how far away could someone see this thing appearing? How many people are we going to have to say, this was swamp gas too? So it doesn't get back that we willingly freed it.
if we're up by the All-Father, at most 2. Just because there ain't nothing else up there.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, if you're just looking for somebody to take the blame, I'll take the blame, and you guys can just be like, Ox beat us up, and we couldn't stop him.
Like,
If we're going to do
one-armed
this, yeah,
guy.
up by the All-Father's place to do it. But
It was the one-armed man.
Nah, Ox would cop to this. Why wouldn't you accept freeing something from slavery? What kind of evil people are you?
Because the evil people that enslaved it would hurt us for letting it free. So you just say it was the one-armed man, and we bluff our way out of this.
That sounds like lying.
Have you guys
No,
met
no, no,
a
no.
one-armed man?
Do what?
Have you guys met a one-armed man?
What kind of a silly question is that? Everyone's met a one-armed man.
Okay.
Just like we've all met someone that, used to be an adventurer before they took an arrow to the knee.
I've even met two-armed men.
That's
one left-armed man.
arm.
He only had one left arm. I'm still not convinced we should be letting it go, but that's another.
Okay, what do you think we should do instead of letting it go?
See, it is. I mean, when he says it's a POW, it really is, and that's not a war that ended with a peace treaty. All the primordials were captured or destroyed. The only active ones are like gods of evil and darkness.
It's been enslaved for 30,000 years.
No, it's been
And it's a
asleep for
timeless
30,000
creature.
years.
Technically, it's only been enslaved for 10,000. It was sleeping for 20,000.
And
Right.
it's been sleeping
So
So
for
it hasn't been
enslavement.
doing anything to hurt anybody for 20,000 years, and then it got enslaved for 10,000 years. I think
Well-
it deserves to go home.
Pretty sure it didn't.
I
ask
want
for
some
any
kind of.
this.
I want some kind of assurance that it won't just come back.
Yeah, same.
There's a way we could actually just talk to it.
We've been trying that, but we can't talk to it out or inside the flask so far.
Yeah, there is no known way that you guys have access to the iron flask. Should be under the magic items folder in your handouts. So you can check that. There isn't. The other thing is that there's no actual way to confirm that it is even the primordial in there.
We could do the bag of holding within a bag of holding thing and have Ox talk to it in the astral plane. Though that would then require a way back out of the astral plane.
Yeah, that's a small problem.
If you guys want to talk to it beforehand.
I definitely don't want to let it go without talking to it beforehand.
The problem is, as I recall, we were not able to come up with a way to talk to it without freeing it.
Well, without letting it out of the flask.
We can't get it back into the flask, and in an hour it's not our friend anymore. If we open the flask, we're freeing it.
Well, so if we found a way to get gate or plane shift casted instead of banishment, we could send it to like the elemental plane of water instead of the elemental plane of fire if it decides to be hostile.
What would happen to a primordial that gets sent to the elemental plane of the opposite plane?
Probably not a good day.
I'm pretty sure we get fucked.
Banishment just sends it to its home plane.
Right. That's why I said plane shift and or gate.
Right. Okay. As for what would happen if you sent a fire primordial to the plane of water, I don't know. Honestly, I do not know.
Like I said, I
think
believe
that
the
would be
technical
torture.
term is it would get fucked.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but is it the primordial or the plane?
Yes.
I mean,
But-
I'm sure it would do some damage to the plane, but I mean, we're talking about entire plane versus one, albeit very strong, being.
Regardless of what happens, if you drop the primordial into that plane, there's going to be a lot of things that have a very bad time.
But could they trace it back to us?
And fun fact, the elemental plane of water is known to actually have stable portals between it and the prime material plane.
Alright, so maybe not drop it in the plane of water, but we could drop it in like the astral plane, like we said, or some other plane that is essentially a prison.
Let's drop it in Seagull.
That's actually an even worse idea, but there are prison planes we might be able to consider. But I would
Yeah, I
prefer to
think
just find a way to. We're not in a hurry, but find a way to confirm. I mean, ideally, I want to also find a way to confirm that it is what we think it is. But then see if we can find a way to get it to promise in a way that I'll believe, that we'll believe, that it won't just come back and cause trouble again.
Yeah, like, do we know whether primordials are generally, like, evil inclined? On any sort
thought
of
they were, like,
level?
Horrifyingly chaotic.
So even if we tried to bargain with it, there's no known thing that it would definitely, like, deal with us and not come back.
Our
I'm not
unbreakable
sure how much
vows
I
of
would
thing.
know in character, but if I remember out of character, the primordials were extremely chaotic, but they weren't really evil or good. It's just the gods wanted something a little bit more orderly so they could actually build stuff, and the primordials want to kick everything down every few hours.
Yeah. The primordials are out of character. Primordials are non-lawful and non-good.
Yeah. The ones
they're
that are
not
still
going to deal with
around and
us.
active are evil as fuck, but mostly because they're angry at the gods. Like they
Yeah.
weren't until the gods pissed them off.
There's like 1, 2, like 2 or 3 different wars in a row that the Primordials lost.
Like if you know what the 100-handed ones are from Greek mythology, that sort of thing.
Yeah. They're bitter and they've been around for a very long time and they're very powerful.
So if anything, Adriel definitely could not deal in this at all because number one, being
I
somebody
mean, the,
who
the
helps the
kind,
god,
the
and number
levels
two,
of assurances she would need to actually agree to this course of action are pretty extreme.
and to be
Especially
fair, her god
appreciate
might
the
piss.
idea of-
Her god might be pissed off at her for helping this thing that they've been warring against.
I mean, it's a POW. It's the war is not, it didn't agree to peace, so letting it go is going to be a terrible idea. And you're going to have a very hard time convincing me it's not. And you're also having convinced me, like, I appreciate the concept that you want to release slaves, but I don't see this as a slave. I see it as a prisoner. And so you're
On the other
freeing
hand-
prisoners because you've decided that you know better than the gods that their punishment is ready to end.
But the gods didn't imprison it.
Yeah, it's not imprisoned
They
by
did.
the gods, and it's being forced to work. Like that is
It's a
literally
normal
slave.
prisoner thing.
May I also point out the recent example of our actions and that peace requires extensions of trust on both sides?
And that is
I'm
not
not
something
saying
we will
let
be
it
able to
go,
get from
but-
this, I don't think. Not to
Well,
mention,
we,
many of us
definitely not
actually
if we
speak
can't
primordial.
communicate with it.
Also, it was more or less peaceful for 20,000 years before being enslaved.
Being
It was
asleep is not
asleep
the
for
same as being
20,000 years.
being peaceful.
It was
It's
imprisoned.
close
That's
enough
what I'm
as far
saying.
as like the potential victims are concerned.
Not really. If anything, I would say the opposite. It would make them more worried that this would come out hostile.
But if it's hostile, it's only hostile because it was enslaved. You can't use the fact that it's going to be angry after being freed from enslavement as a justification for it being enslaved in the first place.
It seemed
It was
fairly
enslaved in
angry
the first
before it
place
went to
because
sleep.
it just tried to destroy the world.
No, it was enslaved in the first place because the dwarves found it and said, hey, this could be useful.
It was imprisoned in the first place because it just tried to destroy the world.
It had been asleep for 20,000 years before the dwarves found it. How are they using
Hold on,
a event from
Hold on.
20,000
In our prior
to justify
discussions,
enslaving something?
in our discussions of the prior history of this creature, didn't it actually already toast a hemisphere?
Like 30,000 years ago.
So it's not just
in
non-combatant;
the
it
interest
has acted.
So in the interest
30,000 years ago.
guys, in the interest of summarizing prior history of this particular primordial, I've pasted the relevant ancient history into chat. The gist of that is dwarves found it underneath. Later on, some people still basically tricked a couple of adventurers into releasing the primordial, and then it roasted most of the city before it got contained again very quickly.
So it sounds like it was pissed off from being contained in the first place.
I don't know. Did it say why it was pissed off?
Pissed off.
Did anybody who heard it live long enough to tell the tale?
Better question.
No, they did not.
See, it grew tired of fighting and was uninterested in continuing the war, so it went to sleep.
Yeah,
What
and if
makes
we
you
knew that
believe
about it. Well, here's the thing. Okay, we know that that's the true history, but in character, I don't think we know that.
For the purposes of this, assume that you do. You guys did do some research on. You guys did
Specifically
do some
this.
historical research into the primordial at some point. I can't remember who with. Assume that in character that what I've given you is your ancient history knowledge of what it's done. Hell, actually, The last time when it exploded out recently, that was only 40 odd years ago. Some of you may well have seen it. But assume that what I've pasted into chat is known by you guys in character.
Okay, so given that we know that it basically didn't want to study war no more, now what?
Lynx would say, given what happened, she wouldn't be surprised if it decided to put away its pacifism for a while.
I feel like if we offered it a way out, it might actually take it. Like, what's done is done, you know. If you would like to not have any more things done to you and have to do more things, fuck off home.
Would we be able to speak to it like that? Or would we be able to have it understand us?
I honestly
speak
think the language
primordial.
barrier is the least of the problems. The
Yes, that
biggest
is one of
problem
the
is
problems.
we need to be able to talk to it while it's in the flask.
Well, Syl can speak primordial, so if we can figure out a way to talk to it, we can talk to it.
I'll admit, I'm definitely not going to agree to any. If we can talk to it and we can get it to agree to peaceably quit the plane, I would go along with that. But we need to be able to talk to it first.
And like I'm saying, I'm willing to delay setting it free for us to come up with like a better plan of how to like actually arrange this and talk to it first. I'm just saying, I'm not okay with us giving up the flask to somebody who we know is not going to free it. I.e., Naboon, the Duke, or Gauntlgrim.
Okay, I'm going to admit that I have actually been pulled around to this way of thinking. That said, we are going to have an increase to your way of thinking.
Oh, just to not giving it up yet?
Not giving it up yet, hanging on to it, but I have to say, we are going to have more and more and more trouble out of this decision over time. And we're going to hear from Lord Naboon on it first. And he is sort of our lord, unless you think that we can find employment elsewhere. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think that I signed an express contract with Lord Naboon.
I wasn't aware being employed was more important than doing the right thing.
It's a fine balance.
Breaking with him is something I would like to avoid doing, but there are plenty of reasons why I would, and he already knows most of them.
I enjoy my current identity, but would not particularly enjoy bringing up a new one, though I suppose I can now. She mutters something and gets a different appearance with her new how to disguise. Oh, do I've come up with a new name now? I wonder.
Jinx.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate for the rest of us that we don't have that option, though.
Well, nothing's stopping you from getting different hats.
I'm pretty sure I can disguise myself pretty well.
I own a fancy hat.
Ox draws a mustache on his face.
Oh my god, who's that?
Senor Vorpal Kikasso.
This is the Primordial Protection Program.
Also, we do have a way to figure out what creature is inside the flask. Didn't somebody learn Identify recently?
Identify tells you if there's something in there.
No, it tells you what is in there.
Oh, it does?
Yes, according to that handout that you shared. An identity spell reveals... Oh, no, you're right. I read that wrong. Damn it.
That seems less than useful.
I mean, it's a good spell and all, but it doesn't solve our problem.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd say we just open it.
Far from the only divination spell that exists.
It's also true.
That I have any great ones, but...
Check the druid spell list.
Yeah, the cleric spell list generally has all the really good divinations.
But
So you're saying we need to find a cleric if the druid doesn't have it?
Damn hippies are useful for some things, apparently.
wait, since when do I have all the good divination?
No clerics.
Though
In
druids do
general.
have some good ones. But yes, the clerics tend to have the best. Maybe that necromancer can be a cleric.
Yeah, I don't get any as a paladin.
Really? That's surprising.
I mean, I get some, but they're like
They're pretty not good. There's like
Yeah.
locate object and stuff, but
locate creature.
I have
Figure you
locate
got to trade all
creature.
those for all the cutty stabby skills.
yeah.
I mean, planar ally would definitely do this. I'm just skimming down.
I'm surprised you don't just get straight up divination.
That might do it too, but yeah, no, it's not on the it's 4th level anyway, but it's not on the paladin list.
No, but it seems like a spell that would fit in the paladin spell list. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The divination would definitely do it.
Assuming the god in question is willing to help.
Which,
I can name a few
Gods
that I think
versus
would probably.
primordials?
But by the way, do we actually have a primordial in a jar right now? Yeah, I think they would be inclined to help us on that one. But frankly, if we can find a temple, we can probably in a city we can probably find a cleric who could ask a question for us for a sufficient donation.
I mean, we're trying to go to the giant oracle. Maybe the giant oracle can tell us.
Last case, yeah, last resort is if we're at the Eye of the Allfather.
Is the oracle an actual giant or a thing?
You have no idea.
Either way, it's
Yeah.
an oracle.
The computer science answer to that is yes.
It depends on your definition of thing.
Okay, so I guess the next question going forward, aside from trying to figure, we can find a cleric to answer that. Then I have to try and figure out if there's a way to talk to it without releasing it, if it is what it is. But the other side to that is, if Lord Noboon asks, what do we say?
If he asks what?
Where's the flask? And what
What
are
flask?
you doing with it?
Does he actually know about the flask?
Yes, he
Yes.
does.
Yeah, you guys have told him that you have.
He's the one who sent us to go get it.
Do we
I
have
thought
to
he-
talk to Naboon?
He's expecting reports. If we suddenly stop talking, he's going to think we're either dead and send someone else to get the flask, or
We don't have to, like... Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, we can keep sending him reports, but like, we don't have to go to him with the flask. We can just pass through Everland straight to Mirabar and just, like, hire somebody else to deliver the sending stones. And be like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, we could have stopped by with the flask, but we figured the Eye of the Allfather thing was more important.
he specifically told us that it was not. At least not more important than the time it would take to go from the teleportation circle in Waterdeep to his house.
He told us that the eye was not as important as the primordial.
Yes.
Oh,
Even after new information has come up.
I
He's
mean,
going to want to know what new information that is.
Yeah, he doesn't know yet that you guys have, or you haven't told him yet that you've made this about your talk with the Duke.
yeah. So we just send the sending stone along with a message that, hey, it turns out this eye, the all other thing's even more important than we thought. We're heading there as soon as possible.
we could. I mean, that's actually maybe not the worst possible decision, is hand off a bunch of the ears to someone reasonably loyal to us in Everland with instructions to hand them out amongst the Lord's Alliance so they can access to the teleportation circle.
We could all just sort of say that the flask got stolen.
Wouldn't that be a lie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to him.
I mean, we could
I
also
am
have somebody in the party steal the flask, and then it
What
wouldn't
flask?
be a lie. Like if Rich pickpockets it from Adriel, then I mean it got stolen.
I don't know what flask you're talking about.
Exactly.
then it's not like Rich is ever the one that talked to Lord Boone, I guess.
Not for
You're
nothing.
also
If we
assuming-
do report the flask stolen, he's going to tell us drop everything and find it.
Probably. And it would probably...
It's okay. We know it was stolen into a safe place.
Yeah, I mean, we could also just say that we had to store it somewhere, but that it's in a safe place, but we couldn't risk traveling with it.
At which point he will say, well, where is it? And I will send a team for it.
Honestly, you lot can do what you want, but just know that I'm not risking everything that I've built up in my life just for your morals on this one particular instance where it may or may not do us any good, and possibly some bad. So, I shall remain oblivious. You're certainly more than welcome to actually knock me out when the time comes so that I can tell the truth under any sort of truth magic that might come up in the circumstances. You're adorable, darling, but I'm not giving up my life for your morality.
Adriel, what do you think?
I'm honestly not sure at this point. I don't see this as a good enough reason to renege on my contract with Lord Naboon. I'm not convinced seeking to free it is a wise course of action, let alone the right course of action. Although I'm not convinced that it's not.
Sending it home if we can, and if we can trust it to stay there and not come back here, is the right thing to do. However, that sentence had a couple of ifs in it already.
And those are very, very, very big ifs.
Yes, yes, they are, and I do not wish to see all the forests of the world burn.
On top of which, I'm not even sure we have the authority to make this call.
On that count, I disagree with you.
Question. Who's actually carrying the flask right now?
Go for it.
Sorry?
Did someone say question?
Yes, me.
And
The
then
DM.
who's actually carrying the flask? Imagine it's in one of the bags of holding.
It's definitely
That's
in
the
one of the
most
bags of
concealed
holding.
place. It's, me and Rich have it, right? Have the bags of holding, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
It's one of those two. I'm trying to
of
think.
you and Rich, who wants to carry a flask?
Would I have made a point of trying to carry it or not?
Would you trust me with it is the better question.
No.
No, in the moments when we got it from the drow, I've said, okay, I better make sure I'm the one carrying this, or it would just be whoever was closer, because I think you were closer at the time.
Okay.
Well, look, can all of us make an agreement not to do anything with it until we come to an agreement on it?
That I can definitely agree with.
So
I
we're
promise
not.
not to. I promise not to do anything until I disagree with the agreement.
I don't think that's what I asked you to agree to.
All right.
I
Like,
didn't
So
mean
here's
this
the
agreement.
thing.
so
I
hold on. We're all agreeing not to give it to Naboon. Did I hear that correctly? Just making
Yes,
sure.
that is part of the agreement.
We agreed not to do that immediately.
Then yes, I agree.
What do you mean immediately?
We haven't decided it. I don't feel we've decided its ultimate fate, but until we do come to a consensus on that,
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure you're not getting around like, yeah, I'm not going to give it to Naboon, but as soon as we get to like Waterdeep, I'm going to give it to Naboon.
no, I'm not going to give it to Naboon until
That was the
we
point of
have
being
an
worded
agreement.
as the agreement as I raised it, is that we all have to agree to a course. Giving it to Naboon is a course of action, and it is possible that we could decide for one reason or another that that would be the best course of action. And personally, I don't see that there's any way in hell that the five of us will all be convinced of that, but it's possible. And given that we have an agreement that we've sworn to, I trust it in Adriel's hands most.
Wow, that's harsh.
No, I think that's a compliment, darling.
To Adriel, maybe.
Oh, people like us? That's quite a compliment.
No, we want them to trust us until we don't.
Well, you note that I'm not trying to take the responsibility for it on myself either.
You can always trust a dishonest person to be dishonest.
And that's fine, and there are a great many situations where that is a wonderful character trait / flaw to have. I just don't think that maintaining a collective agreement is necessarily the place for that particular character trait.
Well, I'm not doubting you, dear. Honestly, if there wasn't so much at stake, I'd be quite amused.
We never did decide what we're going to tell Lord Naboon when he asks.
No, we didn't. But we have made one important decision about the future, and I think that's a good step.
Isn't it just?
So, what are we going to tell Lord Naboon? A falling out with him wouldn't greatly affect me, I think. But we do have other members who would be more grievously affected.
It's not the degree of harm that bothers me. It's I don't want to break an agreement and a promise without good cause.
I think freeing a sentient being from slavery is a good cause, or at least preventing it from going back to slavery without good justification.
From my experience, our boss is something of a fool. I'm simply stating an observed truth.
I won't argue he's never been wrong.
From what I've seen, he is not particularly skillful at making correct decisions now. And many of his peers seem to think the same.
However, to be honest, I don't think we're going to deal with the largest problem at hand by creating more enemies between the allies we already have.
Not particularly.
So if anything, waiting until at least then before burning all our bridges would be lovely.
That's why I prefer to have an answer for when he asks us where it is. We can say we have it and we're going to keep it for a reason that isn't going to piss him off.
All we need now is a reason that won't piss him off.
We could say Harshnag's carrying it.
Oh, I'm sure you'd love that.
Not for nothing. Why not have Harshnag carry it?
Who's
is there
giving
a
up their
good
bag of holding
reason?
for that?
Does it?
We have to keep it in the bag of holding, right?
I don't think so.
We don't want anyone divinating it.
All right. We just got to find a lead line box.
Right, so you can just like dump out your bag of holding and be like, oh, whoops, it must be in the other bag of holding. Harshnag's got it. Oh, well, we'll give it to you when we get back from the Eye of the Allfather.
No, if we're going to do this, I'm saying, rather than saying he has it, why not have him have it? I'm just looking at what all's in my bag of holding. Okay, I got a weird question. when I dismiss my mount and resummon it, does it include all of the gear that was on the mount when dismissed?
That is how you're keeping your barding on it, I believe.
That is, but the spell's kind of vague as to what does and doesn't count. In other words, the saddlebags. If I were to load all my random crap into the saddlebags, that would also work.
Sure.
Okay. And I can do that, leave the bag of holding with Harshnag. And thus he can be carrying it. Because we didn't want to bring it into the giant camp. Also true. Even though we did that.
Without a second thought. Question: how much do we trust Harshnag? I mean, everybody thinks he's a swell guy with a fantastic beard, but are we sure?
I mean, he does have a pretty fantastic beard.
That's true, but does a
Reputation
fantastic
was
beard...
built up over a long time with people who had every reason to assume he was a murderous bastard.
Fair enough.
That could just mean he's playing the long con.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Rothschild.
We did see him talk to a devourer.
Yeah, and tell it to go fuck off. You don't have to blindly kill every evil thing you lay eyes on to be a good person.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
You don't have to blindly charge into every battle against evil to be a good person.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was the paladin I heard say that.
Yep. I mean, there are times when you do have to blindly charge in against evil, but not all the time. So I trust Archon just because I can't think of there's a lot of reasons to, and I actually can't think of a good reason not to at this point, aside from he's a frost giant. And that's racist.
Speciesist. Let's be clear. Let's be fair here.
I don't think there's a meaningful distinction in a world where people can change shape.
And that's why it's going to be so funny to watch these people go through the era of morphological freedom.
Did you guys ever question Harshnag about what he was doing in that crypt as well?
As I recall, we did, got some fairly unsatisfying answers and let the matter lie.
To be fair, I don't think we've ever had a reason to revisit it.
Yeah, I know. I don't think you
Less
have
now
either.
counts as a reason.
I don't think you have either. But I'm just asking.
But there's logic to having Harshnag carry the jar, so we can do that for now, which gives us a reason why we can't hand it to Naboon right away. And then we head up to the Eye of the Allfather according to the route we were planning on taking anyway.
Adriel, why is this something that you have brought up?
Well, if I'm agreeing not to do anything with this, the out of character comment,
Yeah.
you're talking about morphological freedom.
Is there no longer a belt of gender bending?
There is not.
There is
They decided that was in poor taste.
Yeah, I don't see reincarnate changing gender either.
That's a good point. So yeah, just magic jar and wish.
Yeah, I've had to deal with reincarnate. So far, it hasn't changed that.
Speaking of, if anybody dies, I got you. I'm from the forest and I'm here to help.
Oh no.
Are we going to become a tree?
Is this how I get my Awakened Bush character?
At this point, we have actually added enough into the world that is a thing that could possibly be part of your story.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got tree druids running around.
Also, there's
Tree monk druids.
incredibly broken things you can do with Magic Jar in 3.5 that I wish survived to 5e.
Yeah, this version is just, evil.
There's a in 3.5 there's a psionic version of Magic Jar, and with a couple of other abilities you can basically just kill somebody and steal their body permanently.
I can't imagine why you'd need to, though. As I recall, I had a party in 3.5 get a hold of a couple of casts of polymorph. We ended up with the whole party being Lamasu.
Well, because with Magic Jar and stealing people's bodies, along with Mind Seed, you can make some incredibly interesting villains without actually getting beyond rules as written player characters. So I literally had a villain who had replicated himself 50 times across 50 different people. And then when the party finally killed him, he was going to take over their body. But the campaign ended before then.
So anyway, on to Everland.
Yep.
So I think we have an immediate plan.
Which is basically just go to Everland, send the stones out, then go to Mirbar towards the Eye of the Allfather.
Yep.
Do we have someone trustworthy in other Everland to hand the task off to?
I mean, I'm sure we can get somebody from the Lord's Alliance to do it.
Whatchamacallit, the wizard who runs the magic circle thing.
Kron Valharrow.
Do we trust him
Harper.
To pass out sending stones? Yeah, sure.
to pass out sending stones for a fire giant?
Yeah, sure.
He's pretty open-minded for an old dude.
And I suppose with Harper's pass out sending stones for a fire giant to avert a war is a pretty solid reason.
Yeah, they're all about, not having war.
Lord's Alliance are not bad guys. They want less death happening in the Sword Coast. They're not necessarily super competent at it, but
Are there other significantly influential parties besides the Lord's Alliance who would also be good to hand some of these off to?
The Harpers are pretty good.
yeah, Harper's would be the only other one I could think of.
There's the Harpers. There's the Emerald Enclave, which is the big druid group of the setting.
Well, I want to get.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's the Order of the Gauntlet too.
They're the ones we pissed off.
Yeah, can we find our buddy from towards the beginning? Wonder if he ever
Barrack?
found the person he was looking for.
Sir Barrack, the guy from Brian Shander?
Mm-hmm.
You could try. It might take a bit of doing to find him, though. But yeah, the guys you pissed off who sent assassins after you, I think are the Order of the Gilded Eye, is their name. And they're ex-Order of the Gauntlet people. The Order of the Gauntlet is cool.
Inquisition.
They're basically like knights / paladins of a bunch of lawful good gods. So yeah, there are several factions around that are relatively trustworthy. You could technically pass them around to like the Disciples or the Kraken Brotherhood or something, but I don't know if you trust them enough for that. I'm pretty sure you don't.
Nope.
I think the wizard is probably more than capable of doing that because he's going to have portals to like all of them directly.
Yeah, no, he runs the Everland Circle, so
But whether he'd be able to persuade on our behalf instead of those who directly dealt with it, because he wouldn't be able to answer any questions.
We'll write
And he would be as persuasive.
we'll write very nice letters. I think we have the materials for that to go along with the sending stone, saying, okay, this is what the Duke said to us, and we agreed to pass along the sending stones. Here it is. And then this is what he wants, this is what he's offering, and yada yada. And let the Duke's stances stand for themselves. But yeah, persuasive penmanship. If I recall correctly, we promised the Duke we would pass this along, not that we would personally persuade each of the lords to attend.
yeah, basically all the Duke wants is to actually hear back from members of the Lord's Alliance. He doesn't care what the answer is. He just wants either a yay or a nay. Yes, are you willing to like bargain, or no, I am not willing to bargain. And as long as you actually give him the sending stones, he can persuade them himself if he has to.
Right. And I think a sending stone and a letter explaining the situation and what he's done as a gesture of goodwill, although not hit people is not a hugely persuasive gesture of goodwill, but that's not our place to judge.
Yeah, he didn't murder those people. He didn't see Jadbar. All right, so you've reached a decision about what to do with the flask in the meantime until you reach an actual decision. You guys were going to try and meet up with Harshnag, I believe.
Yep.
All right. He can meet you probably 15 miles out of the city, 20 miles out of the city. What happened?
Okay.
All I got from you was that there was no fight. How was there no fight?
Funny story. Now we'll explain what happened with the Duke and what he said and yada yada.
Hmm. I am not sure I trust this dude.
Oh, never do we really.
Then you are wise.
We
But he asks little enough.
we
And it
figured it's
doesn't
up to the lords to decide whether or not to trust him further.
He's told.
and it has at least purchased peace for a time.
You are right. I will. It is a good decision. So, where go we next? To the eye?
Yes. By somewhat roundabout means, but yes.
Our way of Everland, as with the usual, the original plan.
All right. Lead on, little ones.
There is one thing we'd like you to do for us, though.
Oh,
We would like you to carry the flask.
ah. Much trust you put in me. I accept. He holds that hand flask.
I'll at that point, it's like, we're going to leave it in the bag of holding to prevent divination. Hold on a moment, and then I'll repack, and then give him the bag of holding with the flask
While
of related
you,
plastic.
while you repack, Harshnag kind of taps his foot impatiently. You get the sense that if he had a watch, he'd be looking at it and kind of tapping on the face a little bit.
I have a lot of clothes.
I thought he was just kind of wandering along while we're on the carpet.
Of course you do. Okay, yeah, Harshnag will take the flask. He'll hide it under his breastplate, actually, and continue following you along the path. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you heading north or south along this path? I seem to remember for some reason there was talk of heading south, of heading on the south path.
That was to dodge the Duke.
Right.
Yeah, I think going north around those mountains is slightly faster, and then I guess from there we can maybe take the. If there's a boat going south, we'll do that. Otherwise, just go through Silvermoon, I guess. It looks like more roady, or road-like.
Right. All right. Do you want to stop
We-
in? Just so I can get a sense. Do you guys want to stop in either Dead Snows or Newport?
Is there anyone important enough to give a brass ear to there?
Eh, not really. No. So then that's a no.
I mean, aside from if that's where we are when night's falling, but
Yeah.
We're not going to avoid them, but we're not interested in stopping there in particular.
All right. Measuring distances. I'm gonna say that you guys can get to about the fork, the T intersection outside of Adbar, by the end of your day of traveling. Between traveling through the night and meeting up with Hirschdog and the rest of your day of traveling, you hit about that lovely little T intersection there.
All right.
So y'all can make camp. You can actually see that the fires of the giant camp are no longer visible. They've retreated north. That's a nice.
So far, so good.
Yeah, it's a nice quiet evening for once. You're back out on the road.
Like on the road again. Wonder how that would sound on a lyre.
I'm gonna hazard a guess not super great.
Actually, no, that should work really well on the lyre.
If anyone could do it, Inks could do it.
What do people want to do this fine evening of rest?
Well, the moment we get a hut up, and inside, Inks is gonna just gently pull off her hat of disguise and just kind of stretch out and unfurl her tail from her waist because it's been a while. I've forgotten how nice it is to be able to stretch once in a while.
It does look relaxing.
Just kind of massages her temples where the headband was. Just kind of sees that and smirks at Adriel. I suppose it hasn't been that long to get used to it, has it?
No, not yet.
I'll certainly try to be interesting while I'm at it. And she just kind of poses dramatically.
Oh, interesting is not something I think you need to worry about being.
Are you hitting on me, darling? Gives a wink.
She's more surprised than embarrassed at that line.
Yes, I know I'm not your type. Well, like I said, I will admit it's somewhat nice to relax a bit. Funnily enough, I still have another headband if anyone wants to be my doppelganger for a while. We might need it in the future.
I already have a fantastic ad.
I can't deny that. Well then, usual watch and play. And she kind of strums across her lyre.
Yep.
Alright.
Because even though it looks like we don't have to worry about the giant army, that doesn't mean we're totally safe.
Oh, there's always something, darling.
Yeah, there's literally always something awful going on. Alright, if I recall correctly, you guys cover 40 miles in a day?
I assume with the carpet we're limited to Harshnag speed.
Harshnag has, I think, 40. Just pulling up this sheet real quick. Yeah, Harshnag has 40 feet of speed, which I believe should give you something like 35 miles a day.
Mile per day. Was it 10 miles per day per 10? A mile per day per foot moved is about right.
Okay, so we're gonna go with 40 miles then. All right. So 40 miles should put you about there.
Yes, it looks like we could hit dead snooze if we want to burn an entire day's worth of travel.
Dead Snows is an additional like 10 miles or something off the path. Oh god, almost 20.
Almost 20 from where it forks from the road, and it's almost 20 from where we are to there.
Yeah, it's 15. It's like 15 kilometers to the
Yeah,
fort
so we'd
from where
burn
you guys are.
2/3 of a day worth of travel to go there and to get away from there back to the main road.
Yeah, so you guys
Not
are
worth it.
not going to Dead Snows, I assume.
Nope.
Okay.
Unless Harshnag makes a compelling reason to go talk to whoever he was talking to in the crypt again.
I do not need to go there again so soon.
Good to know. Just making sure you weren't on some sort of ritual schedule.
No. Yes, but not nearly so tight.
Interesting, so it is a ritual.
Of sorts. I am paying respect.
To whom, if I can ask?
An old ancestor. He is buried in the world script from thousands of years ago.
Quite the devotion, how admirable.
He shrugs. It is not good for people to forget where they come from. He is founder, beginner of my clan, of me. It would be wrong for me to just forget about it.
Sorry, you got quiet there.
It would be wrong for me to just forget about him. Am I audible? Yay, nay.
A little bit better now. It was just
Alright.
really quiet during that whole thing, but otherwise.
Sorry. It's really annoying not to hunch like that.
Need to get you a good travel mic.
Yeah, for the 1 week every 4 months that I'm not at my usual spot.
There you go.
Yes, exactly that.
He is ancestor of mine. Thousands of years back. He founded my clan by. He is responsible for me.
Okay, so founded the clan. That's the word
Yeah.
that kind of got away from me a couple times.
Right, yeah, no. He founded Harshav's clan. TLDR.
What was his name?
His name was Orl.
Yeah, it was quiet again. Might be that written up.
His name was Orl.
How many frost giants are named Oral?
He was clan founder. He gave his name to our clan, and laws is a strong word. He did not set laws for the clan. Frost
He didn't
giants
give
don't
them-
really. Frost giants don't really
I'm
do.
gonna say, wouldn't that be the
laws.
Ordnung? That's the laws of the clan in as much as they have.
Yeah, frost giants don't really do laws.
Oh, where was that one's name? The first one we met was like Oral Fodder.
He was also Orl Fodder. I think he is actually in the character list.
Yeah. Huh. How
Yeah, his name is
very-
literally Orl Fodder.
That is quite the coincidence. We seem to be meeting up with lots of oral fathers. Or orals.
It's definitely not because I'm really bad with names.
We don't know that. Nope, they're totally related. We just make instant friends with everyone from this family.
Well, they're related now. They have the same clan name. I said it. It's canon. Go from there.
Yeah, then could be like, oh, we met Noralfotter.
He was the good guy one, right?
He was the shaman.
He was the ninja.
Yeah, he was the one who snuck into your camp. He was the shaman who wanted you guys to...
This oral clan is generally good frost giants. They're getting a good reputation for my book, and skilled and sneaky.
You could even call them swell guys.
I mean, technically, yes, I could.
We have to be like, Harshnag, you'll definitely have to tell us if you hear any Skald stories about us. He did say there might be one.
Cousin Oral will keep to his word. If he says there will be Skald story, there will be Skald story. It may not be good Skald story, but it will be Skald story.
You still sound very far away, but at least got the words to that.
It may not be good Skald story, but it will be Skald story. Can you hear me better now?
Now,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
It's like coming and going every other comment, though.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the best position to sit in that doesn't make me a gremlin.
Toward the end of that sentence was bad. The beginning of the sentence was fine.
I'm trying to find... It might also just be that the mic on this computer is shit. For which I apologize.
Or it's like you're so close that it's kind of overwhelming it and it kind of goes into tunnel mode.
Maybe.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's auto-adjusting too fast, so it's not taking the time to actually figure out what the hell's going on.
For a while there, it was working fine.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't really need to talk for about the first half of this session because you guys were just debating. All right. Yeah. So you now know which clan Harshnag is from. Sweet. You're camped out maybe 20 miles outside of Dead Snows. Probably closer to 30 miles outside of Dead Snows. Anything for the night, guys?
The usual.
Yeah. It's taking a...
Try and take over the world?
By carousing?
Yeah.
You want to try and
Headband in
carouse
the tent
out
is going
here?
to be a new tradition just because it's nice to ease out and not just when they're at inns now. Only in the hut, though. Though I assume Harshnag was there, so he knows anyway.
Was he there?
I don't think
I'm pretty
so.
sure he was nearby.
Yeah, he would have been, I guess. All right, yeah, go ahead. Stretch out every night.
It is nice to sleep with a thing not slamming into your temples all night.
All right. So next morning comes. You guys hitting another 40 or so miles down the road. You pass by dead snows on your way. You can see it in the distance, but beyond seeing that it looks intact, not much really there.
It's just a model.
Basically, yeah. Dead snows. Dead snows. Dead snows.
Let's not go to Dead Snows. Tis a silly place.
Indeed. It has that Bardic Academy and everything, remember?
Oh my god,
A
yes!
with a new school of interpretive dance.
Oh, yeah! Shit, I forgot about the interpretive dance school. How could I forget about the interpretive dance school?
How can anyone forget about the interpretive dance school?
I don't know. Clearly, I am a fool.
It's a travesty, is what it is.
Hey, don't hate.
Alright. So, launch order for the night. Same watch order as always, guys?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Perception checks all around, please. Inks, the moon is super pretty.
Oh yeah, she's already coming up with a new tune for it.
Like, damn, moon.
Inspiration.
Rich, you notice a couple of very pretty birds flying overhead. Very nice owls. You watch as one of them swoops down and grabs a mouse. Those of you who rolled Sill and Ox, you spot Sill and Ox, you spot some brief flares coming from the north, from the direction of Iron Slag.
Flares, like before?
Yeah. These ones are slightly more jauntily colored. Instead of just being pure red, they're one of them looks to be blue and one of them looks to be a brighter yellow color. Adriel, you two spot a couple of owls You also see what looks like a fox skulking around your campsite.
A fox?
A fox.
Okay. Is it behaving in normal fox manner, or?
Yeah, he's just kind of sniffing around.
Okay.
Seems like he smells something, but can't tell what it is.
My last girlfriend became the moon, you know?
Rough, buddy.
That's rough, buddy.
That's rough, buddy.
I'm so glad you all came with me on that journey.
I'm glad we all had the same response. That sounds like a fun story, though. So you all wake up without further incident. However, Harshnag wanders over you during the day and says, "So your last girlfriend was the moon? I do not understand. How did you date the moon? It is very far away."
It was a long distance relationship, darling.
How do you date the moon? Well, it's long stories called carbon dating.
I do not know what carbon dating is.
Did that even work?
It does not. Yeah, that's a good question. Would that work on the moon?
I think you would have to use a different a different element other than carbon.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think carbon has too short of a short life, or short of a half-life.
It also varies depending on if you're looking at shit churned up from an impact or not.
Or, when the gods made the thing. Because this world.
Yep.
I was going to say, dating the moon, there's like 3 or 4 moon goddesses. One of them's the drow nudist.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What?
That was when crazy Yom Kippur.
I do not remember a drow nudist.
That just sounds more like a Warhammer.
I don't know. I feel like it's not that much of a stretch for the drow.
Oh, absolutely
like
not.
A
I've just never
neutral or
heard of it before.
chaotic good moon goddess of the drow who never wears clothes.
Huh. Interesting.
Largely because they can sell more art that way, but
Oh, is it Elstray?
something like that.
Oh.
I mean, it's
Okay.
drow,
I
so
didn't-
I'm sure I missed a couple random consonants and vowels in there. That
Yeah,
don't
she's
make-
got it. There's a couple more vowels in there. But I thought she was just like a dance goddess or something.
She's a moon goddess.
Clothes are overrated anyway. I'm not even sure yet if Ox wears pants.
He doesn't wear pants. He is pants.
I've always just pictured him as wearing some manner of robe.
I mean, he has a cloak. He might have pants. He might not. But that's going to be it.
I still do not understand. How did you have a girlfriend who was moon?
I am just that
Or is it
good.
expression of some kind?
Yes, it's an expression, darling. But I'd like to say it's real. It makes a more interesting story, don't you think?
Probably.
Also, are you jealous?
You are too tiny. Unfortunately, you are too tiny. I would break you.
Oh, is that a promise?
No, his only statement.
Well, I'm certainly glad I haven't lost my knack if that's the only reason.
Harshnag shrugs, wanders away.
At least told you I understand, darling.
All right. So you guys should make it about this first crossroads here. So
If I remember correctly, coming up, there wasn't any like dock or anything at the thing, just a bridge over the river, right?
yeah, there's no like city or village or anything there. It's just there's a bridge north, or there's a road north on the other side of the river to Felbar, and there's a road south to Sundabar.
Yeah,
Both of those are marked on the map.
we could catch a boat out of Sundabar. We did that before, didn't we?
You have not been to either of those cities before.
Yeah, no, we didn't go that way because there's no real road from Sundabar to Jonthar.
Sorry,
Isn't
I was thinking
Sundabar
of Yardar.
Dwarven? Is Sundabar Dwarven?
Yes, both Sundabar and Felbar are dwarven. Sundabar is the one that got kind of devastated in a war a few years ago. And so their above ground part of the city is all burnt to shit. And they don't really take too kindly to outsiders right now.
Especially giant outsiders.
So what we've learned
Felbar.
is that dwarves really like a bar.
That was fantastic.
Felbar's relatively open. They're a Lord's Alliance city and stuff. And they're especially friendly with the other dwarf cities like Gonkelgrim and stuff, but they're allied with most of the other large cities in the region.
Well, if we're Lords of Lion City, we should be dropping off an ear with them.
Is there an actual lord of the Alliance in that city?
There is, in fact, a king and queen in that city. King Morin and Queen Tithmel. Of the House of Warcrown.
That sounds
It
like
sounds like-
precisely the sort of person we should be dropping this off to.
Yes, I'm sure they'll be deeply invested in preventing any combat.
So it's a good day's travel out of the way. A good day's travel out of the way. If you did want to go.
Even with a delay, I think we should.
Okay. Well, you are currently encamped at the crossroads. Same watch order as last night.
Yes.
Not a good idea.
All right. Perception checks all around, please. Damn, Ox, you're actually killing it on perception checks.
So is Sil.
Yeah. Still the
Something's
druid,
wrong.
though.
I'm glad we all got that.
Yeah. All right. So probably about 9 or 10 p.m. Ox, you for sure. Who's on first watch? I don't
Well, it's two
actually know.
splits. It's the
Yeah.
3 people who sleep and the 2 people who don't. I think I go before Ox normally.
I don't know about you, but Ox is just observant at all times.
Inks would have been on first watch.
Ox is Warforged.
Like,
So-
I'll go inactive for 4 hours, but I'm still aware of what goes on around me.
Yeah. So those of you who roll above a 10 and who are awake for or observant for first watch, you hear a wagon or several wagons coming up the path towards you.
Check out that direction.
Oh, coming from the west. Sorry. As the noise gets closer, you catch glimpses of yellow robes from the wagons as they come into view.
Oh, it's that.
Is your hut hidden from the road? Important question, guys. Is your hut hidden from the road?
I assume it would be blending in. Because, I mean, that's the best thing to do to kind of hide it from...
Okay.
Though I
Maybe
guess
we're
it's
not
up to
just
Rich.
gonna hide in plain sight.
Sure.
What are we,
It's far
giants?
enough off the road that it's not easy to see, at least.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
I mean, a
have.
real ranger's gonna spot it, but
Right. And I assume as the disciples get closer to you guys, that nobody's just going to out and shout to them.
Ink certainly isn't.
Well, they're looking, as they get closer to you guys, they're looking a bit ragged. One of their wagons is very clearly not moving very well. And they look like they're trying to find just a place to rest for the evening. There's maybe 6 or 7 younger disciples, one middle-aged 40 to 50 man, and a very old woman with them. One of the younger ones thinks that they spotted something. Looks out into the hut towards you guys and calls, "Is anyone there? Hello?"
Ink's a give a look to Adriel. And just kind of arch a brow.
And probably be like pulling myself out of meditation. Shrug. Is the caravan stopping?
Not really. They're not going very quickly. So the rest of the caravan is kind of keeping going. The one younger disciple has stopped and is shouting into the woods at you guys.
He just gives Adriel looks, yeah. Do we want to do this?
I don't want to, but we might as well.
Very well. Yes, darlings, may we help you?
Oh, there's actually somebody here. I'm sorry to bother you. Could we possibly make camp with you this tonight? Something's wrong with our wagon, and we'd really like to just have someone else to camp with while we try and figure out what it is.
Let's just get back into our usual mode. Certainly, darling, certainly. Come around.
He starts frantically waving at the rest of his group. Come on, guys! I found people. And they slowly get the wagons turned around and kind of head over towards you all. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. My name's Haben. We're disciples of the Yellow King. We're trying to head out to Newfort to establish a temple there.
How interesting. I'm Inks. Where did you come from?
Oh, we came from out of Silvery Moon.
Already established there?
Yeah. We thought it was really important that we bring the word and, more importantly, all of this food, and he gestures to the wagons, to the people out here, though. We heard it's been a rough year.
I see. How very noble.
It's just what the king asks of us. Would any of you by chance have any skill with carpentry?
Not myself, darling, sorry.
Uh,
Though, depending on what's broken, I might be able to take a look.
One of the axles on our wagon is just acting up. None of us are really great with it. The bishop is the bishop doesn't know anything, and the messenger knows something, I think, but he's a bit too old to do much about it. He gestures to the middle-aged man and the old woman, respectively.
Well, madam, what do you think might be the problem? We might be able to talk to the other people with us.
It's the axle, young lady. Someone broke our axle. It's making the wheel shake all about on this wagon. Our potatoes are going to be mashed before we even arrive at this rate.
His puts on the overly dramatic. Oh, how dreadful! Hand on the side of the face. Don't you push yourself up? Well, Suppose I can take a look. Can't guarantee I can do anything, but certainly. Meander over and see if she can check out the said axle.
All right. So you can poke your head under the wagon. Roll perception or investigation. I mean, you're pretty sure axles are supposed to be straight, and this one is not straight. So that's probably bad.
Huh. Well, I can see why it's a bit wobbly. I don't suppose you have any better knowledge, Adriel?
I'm not really an expert with these sorts of things. I'm
Yeah.
gonna look.
Ox does have proficiency with carpenter's tools.
Wah wah.
All right, Adriel, the axle is definitely not supposed to be that way. It looks as if you locate the brake in the axle pretty easily. Half of the brake is all jagged, like you would kind of expect from, say, like a hard impact or something. The other half looks like it was sawed. It's very smooth.
The question is it more than 1 foot in any dimension?
That's an interesting break. I'm not. I mean, it's right there, so like point. But how would you could? So kind of shrug. I wouldn't know how to repair it though. Nail a couple of planks to the side of the brake. Like a splint.
Is it more than 1 foot in any direction?
The brake? No, I can't imagine that it would be.
Yeah.
No, it is not more than 1 foot in any
I was
dimension.
gonna say the axle on a car is usually going to be like 4-inch diameter.
Well, if it can be pointed out
Yeah.
to Inks, I'm like, huh, I might actually be able to fix this.
The edge will be like, yeah, there it is. That's kind of weird looking, but there it is.
And take a peek at it. Just kind of notice the brake to saw ratio. Just kind of half smirk to herself from under there and shake her head. Alright. You can cast mending on it.
Oh! Well, why didn't I think of that?
I don't know why it has a strength saving throw on it, but
Yeah, good question.
Why didn't I think of that? Thank you very much, kind adventurers. May I have your names?
Adriel Kurumnash.
they call me Inks.
Thank you.
We certainly can't have your good meals going to waste.
Indeed. The word and the food must be spread. Both are crucial to bringing all people into the disciples.
Did she say into the what?
Both are essential for bringing all people into the disciples.
It's always that last word that gets lost to me.
Disciples.
Okay, into the disciples. Okay. Like, I kept hearing silence and like, whoa, that's not creepy.
Yes, the old all the sentences of the last word, that's totally intentional.
May I? I should introduce myself. I am Messenger Tarvitz, a messenger of the disciples of the Yellow King. I am charged with bringing the word to faraway places. Thank you for your aid in my task.
Well, you're quite welcome. We've heard a bit about the Yellow King, but nothing too in-depth.
Such is the state of most in the Sword Coast. It is our goal to remedy that.
So, what is the word of the Yellow King?
Oh boy, I have a whole. Give me a sec. I have a whole. Give me a sec. I have a whole Google Doc written up with like some basic information about what they believe and stuff.
Great.
I'm so glad you asked, gives pamphlet.
Basically,
Well, having
yeah.
a pamphlet to highlight things.
Okay, I know. She has Yellow King chick tracts.
What?
Yellow
Certainly.
King. Pardon?
Like, I just heard chit tracks. Like, what?
Yeah, so did
That's
I.
different.
But so that's a basic overview of the disciples and what they believe and a little bit about their history. The messenger, I've only just gave a proper fucking hierarchy to these people, so I'll add that in. I'll post that up sometime in the next week or so. But so the messenger is preaches to you guys. What are you inciting exactly?
Basically her intentions and then whether she actually believes all this stuff that she's spouting. Completely.
Well, her intention may not be totally pure, but she definitely fucking believes what she's spouting. She definitely believes in the king, in the Yellow King. She definitely believes that the king will return when the stars are right, and that he will judge people based on
Deliciousness.
not based on deliciousness, based on the unity and the brotherhood that they show each other.
But really on deliciousness. That's why they try to fatten everyone up.
They could just be good people.
The scary thing is they really could be serving an evil deity that plans on eating them.
Yeah, so the normal followers and the bishop seem to totally believe what she's saying. They seem enraptured at this idea of helping people and bringing brotherhood and unity amongst people. The messenger seems to. She definitely believes. If anything, she believes more than the others. But her motivations aren't. Don't. You detect a bit of a different motivation behind her words.
The Yellow
Guides it
King
very well,
sleeves.
though.
He might get hungry later. Also, I can't believe you haven't seen this before, Flynn.
Hmm?
The thing I have just linked in Table Talk?
What did I just read?
That's a chick track.
Huh.
This guy, Jack Chick, was writing these for years.
Oh, yeah, I have seen this. I did not know that that was what it was called, though.
And it's actually a bunch of them.
It's just to remind myself what. So she definitely believes in everything she says, but there's ulterior motives for why she's going to
Yeah, that's the gist of it. She's going to Newport.
Newport. Hmm. So Inks is gonna kind of like lean forward, like seeming very intrigued, with the fingers under her chin, just kind of leaning in. Like, so why don't you tell us exactly why you're going to Newport? And she's going to subtly cast suggestion.
I am going to bring others into the disciples of the Yellow King. What other reason would I have?
That's a suggestion for telling us the truth.
She is telling you the truth.
But you said she had ulterior motives.
That is why she's going to Newport.
Hmm. But is that the only reason? Because I said the exact reasoning.
Yes. That is literally the only reason. She wants more people in the disciples.
So is Ink still getting that weird feeling of her not telling the truth on something? Or having ulterior motives?
Roll another insight check. Sorry, roll another insight check.
Sorry, my thing's just being really slow today.
Oh.
Wow. Like, Adriel, are you getting anything?
You do not get any weird feeling from her.
I should probably roll insight because I'm there.
Because that is really weird. That she would get a weird feeling off of that, but asking exactly what the problem was got nothing.
Adriel, you two do not.
Yeah, I think she's sincere in her belief.
Well, yeah, Inks thought she was sincere in her belief.
That's all I'm getting. She's genuinely crazy. It's the real her.
But does Inks know that the magic didn't work or did work?
Um. The magic. Yeah, I guess you know. The magic did not work.
Mm-hmm.
Did not succeed or did not fail.
It did not succeed.
Very interesting.
She kind of continues preaching at you as you're pondering this.
Inks does it. Inks is pretty good at pretending like she's being really thoughtfully listening while kind of thinking things. She has to do that a lot.
All right. If you guys don't bug her, after a little bit, she's going to finish preaching at you, reach into a bag that was on the wagon, pull out a quill and some parchment, and start writing. While the other disciples set up bedrolls and start trying to go to sleep.
Inks does kind of muse in the back. Writing relatives?
No. A little reward for you.
Didn't hear a word of that, sorry.
A little reward for you all. For being so kind to an old lady and her followers.
Thanks a lot to brow at that.
I'm writing you a letter of introduction. Show this to any disciple temple in all the land. They'll let you in, they'll feed you, provide you shelter, and do as best they can to help you.
Thank you very much.
This is quite kind.
You've helped us. It is only proper that I should help you.
Good job, guys. Yeah, they'll keep quiet outside of the hut.
Well, that is quite wonderful, thank you. And perhaps someday we'll be able to learn more about your work.
I look forward to it.
She smiles at you all.
One more. Curious whether she's being as sly as Inks is trying to be.
That one seemed totally honest. She's definitely looking forward to telling you more about the disciples.
Yeah. Work. I said work. Think more about her trip. It's trying to be more coy, damn it.
I'll give you this letter in the morning, shall I? It's late and I'm an old woman. I need my sleep.
Of course, of course. Good night, messenger.
And good night to you, Inks.
And she smiles at you.
I smile right back, and then bow slightly and head back to the hut. It's like inside to go get the next watch group. Wake them up, and immediately, very quietly, tell them exactly what's going on. Preferably with a message, just to be extra careful. Say, there is definitely some shit behind that lady. She means... Keep an eye on her if you can.
The old lady goes to sleep. She clutches that bag that she pulled parchment and pen out of to her like a baby the entire night. But she sleeps normally. So the rest of the night passes without incident. The disciples are quiet. One of them snores, but besides that, you awaken in the morning with the disciples are already up. They are stretching and making their wagons ready. The messenger approaches whoever's first out of the hut, hands them a letter. Bearing the disciples' emblem on some lovely yellow paper.
This probably ends up being me.
Probably. Here you go, dear Adriel. I hope that you are well wherever you go. And I hope that we meet each other again someday, under just as pleasant circumstances.
That would be lovely. I wish you well on your journey to. Where did it say we're going? Dead Snows?
Newport.
Newport.
Thank you. Let's go, younglings. We've a long way to go yet.
She hops on the newly repaired wagon and starts riding it out. And like that, the disciples leave your camp.
Yeah, as soon as they're completely out of earshot, Inks is like, that woman might be interesting. Don't suppose anyone can cast detect magic on this piece of paper.
I will cast Detect Magic on that piece of paper.
It's not magical.
Okay.
It seems to be just a piece of paper. It basically tells any disciples reading it to offer reasonable aid to the bearers. And it's signed by the messenger.
Well, if anything, let's keep it inside a bag of holding. I'd like nobody to be able to locate us based on it.
Right. Which means Rich will have to carry that.
Because she bested a suggestion spell, and that has me interested.
All right. So letter and bag of holding. Yeah. You're about to set out for the day. You're heading to Felbar next.
Uh,
If I remember correctly.
yes, we wanted to stop by Feldbar.
All right. Well, we are actually at 10 o'clock. So I think we're going to call it here for tonight. If you guys don't
Okay.
mind.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So next week I'll have a proper microphone, so I'll actually be able to talk,
Yay.
which is cool. But yeah, I enjoyed listening to you guys debate about what to do. Seriously,
I enjoyed it.
I honestly did not even consider when I was first looking through this campaign that releasing the primordial would be an option seriously considered by you guys, but
Nobody ever expects a slavery
you've
debate.
made it an actually like not only have you considered the option, but you actually made like a pretty good argument for doing so. So yeah, I seriously look forward to seeing what you guys do with that.
I mean, 3 out of 5 party members are on Team Free the Primordial. Just saying.
Yeah, at this point, I have a feeling you guys are going to free it. It's just a question of when and where.
And how will it play out?
Yeah, and how will it play out? I think I have the answer to the how will it play out, and I think it's going to be interestingly.
Obviously, the answer is that Ox and the Primordial are going to become best friends forever, and everything's going to be fun and happy and rainbows
Breast
forever.
friends forever.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Best friends forever.
No.
Breast friends forever from now on.
I mean, you might not have.
I mean, I'm sure a lava creature could get you a good set.
I mean, I've seen what the primordial looks like, and it does not have breasts. So you might be a bit disappointed there.
We can bring it chicken breasts. That's fine.
Yeah, you gonna stick
We can
some chicken breasts?
We can solidify our friendship by eating chicken.
You're gonna stick some chicken breasts on it and cook them up like that?
So obviously we hold this until we face off against the Yellow King and then have the Primordial versus the Yellow King and then send it back and it's all good. Have one problem, solve another.
Ooh, let's have them have their fight in the middle of the Evermoors.
Oh god.
Solve 3 problems at once.
You know, that's not even like... I wouldn't put it past you guys.
It will either be the best decision or the absolute worst decision, and either way we won't be around to see the finale. We will go out in a literal blaze of glory either way.
I mean, if you doom the world, does it still count as a blaze of glory?
Hey, I wasn't the one who was deciding to free the Primordial in the first place, so I guess it works for me. I win either way. Inks is either alive or she was right.
I mean, you can be right and still end up destroying the world.
That's the thing. Exactly. So either the world doesn't get destroyed and everything's good, or the world does get destroyed, she's right, and she doesn't need to worry about dealing with stuff afterwards because there's nobody around.
Anyway, see you guys next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
See you next week, guys.
Yeah, later.
Everyone.
Later.